Want to know about diastasis recti and how to heal it naturally? Well, in this episode, I'm talking to Julie Tupler, the founder of the Tupler Technique, the best technique to heal your diastasis recti, and she's going to answer all of your questions. So, come on, let's go. It's time for Speak Up Darling Show. Okay. And today our guest is Julie Tupler. She's the specialist of diastasis recti. So please, Julie, can you introduce yourself and just explain a little bit on how you get into this business of diastasis recti?
Hello, I'm Julie Tupler. I'm a registered nurse, certified personal trainer, and childbirth educator. And um, I got into this business sort of by accident. I moved to New York City in 1987, and I was teaching a class at this health club. And they said, and this was in the late 80s, and they said, "You're a nurse. Why don't you teach the prenatal class?" Now,
Okay.
there was nobody doing prenatal in the late
Really?
80s. The
Yeah.
ACOG, the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, had just written their guidelines, I think in 1987 or 85. I can't remember what the year was. But so there was only one person um, that was doing anything prenatally, and I took this physical therapist class and really didn't agree with what she was teaching. So I thought to myself, I'm just going to have to create my own class. So what happened was, when the women in the class found out I was a nurse, they started picking my brain about labor. And it had been a while as a nurse since I'd been in labor delivery. So I decided to become a childbirth educator. And what I realized was that childbirth education comes at the end of the pregnancy and only prepares your mind. Now, you wouldn't run in a race and not prepare. Why would you do the hardest thing you're ever going to do, labor, and that's why they call it labor, and not have both that mind and body? And I felt that women could be much more successful in labor if they prepared for it. So in 1990, I started my business called Maternal Fitness, and it was preparing women for the marathon of labor. What I wanted to do was teach them how to push in labor, to push with their abdominals and relax the pelvic floor, which nobody was teaching. And by so I started my 6-week exercise classes. I had a studio in New York City, and what I and then I saw this doming, this bulge, and I'm like going, "What is that?" All right.
Mm.
So that was the beginning of my quest for finding out what that bulge was. So I always believed in the transverse abdominal muscle and doing
Mhm.
exercises. And one of my clients said, "I can't feel my muscles working." And, she had a very big diastasis. I mean, very big doming. So I took a scarf and I manually brought the muscles close together and then asked her to do the exercises. And she said, "Oh my God, this is magic. I can feel my muscles working."
Okay.
So that was my magic moment that made me realize that it's positional.
Okay.
So if the muscles are 4 fingers apart or more, they move side to side. And if they're moving side to side, you can't feel them. And if they're moving side to side, you're not really able to strengthen them. So you
Mm.
have to bring them together in order for them to work in the right direction, front to back.
Yeah.
That's the only way. And then it became obvious to me that that it was all about strengthening that stretched out connective tissue between the separated muscles,
Mm.
right? And the way that developed through the years was three things. The first was repositioning the muscles and connective tissue. So the muscles, as I said, have to be close together so they
Mm.
work front to back. That's the only way you can strengthen them if they're moving in that direction. The second thing is the connective tissue. You want to take the stretch off the connective tissue and continuously keep it in that narrow position because that's the best position for it to
Yeah.
heal in. And also, that's the best position for it to be when you're using your abdominal muscles to be in a narrow position, when it's exercising. Um, so the first thing was repositioning muscles and connective tissue. The second thing was protecting that connective tissue from getting stretched in either a forwards, a sideways, or a backwards direction. And what most people don't realize is that you use your abdominals with every move you make and with every breath you take. So
Yes.
if I stand up and I don't use my abdominals, then what happens is the abdominals are moving forward. And when they move forward, the connective tissue goes with it and it's getting stretched. Now, if you keep on stretching the connective tissue, it's never going to heal.
Mm.
So, so it's really important to develop transverse muscle awareness as well as the strength, which is the third thing with the exercises, to be able to have the awareness with activities of daily living. When you sneeze, when you cough, when you go to the bathroom, when you stand up, when you sit down, when you pick up your baby, to use your transverse. All
Mm.
right. If you do that, then you're not stretching it in this forwards direction. And with the sideways direction, it's arching the back, doing things where the back is arched because that flares the ribs and stretches it sideways. Or this crossover movement creates this sharing movement. So
Mm.
you don't want to be doing that. Or putting a lot of weight on that weak connective tissue stretches it backwards. Um, so we want to reposition muscles and connective tissue. We want to protect the connective tissue from getting stretched either in a forwards, backwards, or sideways directions. And then we want to strengthen both the connective tissue and the muscles with my seated and back lying exercises. Now, initially, I never knew why the connective tissue was getting stronger. All right, I thought it
Mhm.
was maybe blood flow to the area, and maybe, but then I read the research by Dr. Helene Langevin, a neurologist out of Vermont, and she talks about the connective tissue and that in many different ways. But one of the things that I realized from reading her research is that she says this mechanical compression, which is what, once the muscles are close together, my exercises are doing, creates this microcurrent in the connective tissue, and that's what remodels and heals it. So
Okay.
with my exercises, it starts out, week 1 to 3 with doing, 500 of these every day, and then works up
Yeah.
to 2,000 in week 18. Um, and as difficult as it sounds to do, you can do them when you're driving in your automobile, sitting watching TV. You can incorporate them into your activities of daily living. And
Mhm.
then in week 6 of the program, when you do a diastasis safe workout, you incorporate using your abdominal muscles with every repetition of every exercise.
Yeah. It's a really transformative way to prepare your core and get stronger. And what I see on the challenge is not just to do the exercises, but to breathe differently. I've seen a lot of women having difficulty to just let go on their belly, for example, to expand to the first floor and then bringing in, it's like a new way of breath, of breathing into for
Well,
them.
that's how we all start out. If you look at a baby,
Yeah,
that's how they breathe. And as you know, I can't stand that word inhale or belly breath in, because then the brain hears in and you bring your abdominals back.
yeah,
Um, And then when you exhale, the abdominals go forward forcefully, putting force and stretching that connective tissue. When you belly breathe, all right, and you expand the belly, it goes forward passively.
yeah,
So there's no force on the connective tissue. And the best thing is that you get all this oxygen in your body, and oxygen is great for everything,
yeah,
everything. So yes, it's a new way of breathing. Um, the thing about diastasis is that it's a big secret,
yeah,
that most people have it and just don't know it because they're not checked for it. And that is why I started training people, because as one person, I can't get it out there all by myself but the side effects of diastasis get worse as you age.
yes,
So if the muscles are close together, it's doing its job of supporting the front, the back, the top, and the bottom of your body.
mm,
When the muscles are separated and that connective tissue stretches sideways, your organs now are out of alignment. They move forward,
mm,
bloating after eating, constipation, um, all of that. On top, poor posture, which can cause the sciatica because the spine is rounded and it puts pressure on the discs.
yeah,
Back pain because there's no support in the front. All
yeah,
right,
that's for
so
sure.
you get back and hip pain. An umbilical hernia is a side effect of a diastasis, and then the pelvic floor issues. Um, a diastasis can put a pregnant woman at risk for a C-section, because if this is the uterus and this is the cervix, when the muscles separate, there's no support for the uterus, so the top of the uterus tilts forward. So now the cervix is pointing downwards and
Mm,
sideways instead of downwards. It
okay,
can put a person having abdominal surgery at risk for an incisional hernia, which means the stitches come undone afterwards. So this program um, works with people before and after surgery, before and during and after pregnancy, and also, with just the diastasis for women, men, and children, just
yeah.
in general, that are having those side effects.
That's one of the things that I've learned for myself during your training is that I always had a diastasis that was never healed, and because I was born with a hernia, an umbilical hernia, and the only thing the surgeon, I saw directly a surgeon that talks to my parents, and he said we can't we can't do a surgery on the baby, but when she will be in pain, you come back to see me. That's what that he said, and and I had the first surgery for hernia at 10 years old, and then I grew up with that, and I had another surgery at 20 years old because I started my fitness training, so a lot of crunches, sit-ups, everything not to do, and a third surgery after my first child, and that lets me literally um, unable to use at all my abdominals because there were the way they did the stitches was just I don't know how they did it, but it gave me electricity every time I was moving, and I couldn't take my child with me. I couldn't train. I didn't train for at least a year at all because they didn't know what happened. And they let me find a solution. So at least when I got my second child and I knew I had a diastasis, just jump on the occasion. No, this time I do it myself, and I heal by myself because there were no support. And I still don't understand why is that so complicated to say, well, okay, you have a diastasis. This is the options for you naturally. And and open this kind of big hole of uh, don't
It's
let women in pain or
yeah,
even
it
anyone in pain.
right. It's and the older you get,
Mm,
um, the larger it gets, and the larger it gets, the harder it is. Not the harder, but the longer it takes to bring it back together. So, um, it's um, the program is just about um, doing some. You have to get up and down from a chair.
yeah.
So I'm just asking that when you get up and down, you include your transverse, that you engage your transverse. You have to go to the bathroom, so when you go to the bathroom, just include it. So and the exercises, one set of 100 is 2.5 minutes. So
Mm,
to do two sets of 100 is like 5 minutes. Everybody has 5 minutes, to
yeah.
do that. So it's just about having an awareness of how your muscles are working, the importance of using them correctly. All
Mm,
right, and using them correctly with activities of daily living, and using them correctly when you're working out. And
yeah.
initially, it's sort of like patting your head and rubbing your belly. Um, uh, because people are not used to using their abdominals with every repetition of every exercise, but it's the best way to work out,
Mm,
whether
that's
you
for
have a
sure.
diastasis or not. I mean, that's
Yeah.
that's how I,
Mm,
work out all the time.
mm,
It's almost second nature. I still
yeah.
have to, tell my brain, to do it. But it's more second nature for me to use my transverse. So it becomes that, and it's not something that you do the 18 weeks and then it's over, right?
Mm,
Sometimes, depending upon the size of your diastasis, it takes longer.
yeah.
But once you bring it close together, because you have a weak spot at your belly button,
Yeah.
you start doing crunches and arching your back and back bends and all that kind of stuff, and putting force on that weak spot, it's going to open up again.
Yeah.
I had a client, she had almost closed it. I was checking her and she sat up and she jackknifed, almost gave me a heart attack. All right. Um,
The habit still there.
just I couldn't believe that she jackknifed right in front of me, and it was like,
Did she got scared after that when she saw your face?
well, then I made her get back down, and I checked her, and it opened up with one jackknife. So these are the type of things that that you just have to be careful of. You're getting in and out of bed.
Mm,
Just do it correctly. I'm not
yeah.
asking you to do something extra. I'm just asking you to do it a different way.
Better.
All right, the
Yeah.
same thing a different way. And once your brain gets used to it, then you can do that.
Yeah. But it's something that's I was wondering why for example Pilates, why is it not helping much? Because I did Pilates, and I'm a Pilates
Okay,
instructor,
so
and we
Pilates is
use
not helping.
transverse.
Pilates is not helping because many of the exercises are not diastasis safe. So what
Okay.
does diastasis safe mean?
Yeah.
Diastasis safe means that you're able to engage your transverse. So in a Pilates exercise, if the shoulders are off the floor in a back-lying position, it's physically impossible to engage transverse. So then the muscles are moving forward and the connective tissue is getting stretched.
Mm.
So you, because people always say to me, "Can I do this? Can I do that?" And my answer is, "Can you hold your transverse in?" If you can't hold your transverse in, it means number one, you're either in a position like roll ups and roll backs and anything like that. You cannot do, you can't engage transverse. And that's not good for the discs of the spine anyway. functional medicine is coming out with that rolling up and down is not good for the disc of the spine, and it's certainly not good for the diastasis. So it means either number one, you're in a position where you're not able to, and number
Mm.
two, it may be that you're not strong enough. Either way, if you can't engage, so you put your hand on your belly and you try it, and if you feel your muscles moving forward, you know it's a no-no, that you don't want to be doing it.
Yeah. Right. It's the funny thing with the transverse because it's a really big muscle and it has two parts.
It's the most important muscle in your body. Only muscle that comes all the way around your body.
Yeah.
Okay? So this muscle is the core. It supports your upper and your lower body. If
Mm.
it's separated, your body is going to be out of alignment. And that's it. And that's it. So people say, have this thing about wearing the splint.
Yeah.
They say it's going to weaken your muscles. No, it's not going to weaken your muscles. If we're starting doing transverse exercise, starting at 5 sets of 100, working up to 20 sets of 100, there's no weakening here of your abdominals. We're only putting the abdominals and the connective tissue in the right position so that they move front to back. It's the splint is for approximation, repositioning them close together.
Yeah.
The other binders that are for compression, those
Mm.
might weaken your abdominals. Now, initially, I don't care if people wear them, but the goal is to have the transverse muscle be your abdominal binder so that
Yeah.
you're able to engage, without using a compression, using something to bring your belly back to the spine.
Yeah. I've used that after my second child because I was so much in pain in my back because my tummy was really not functioning at all. And I used the binder, but even if with the binder, it was just, I could have it for 4 hours, 5 hours. And then I was collapsing again until at least the splint, even so, it took me a while to get around the splint because I have a twist in my rib cage. Um, the splint made the difference into, oh, I should be like this. It's should the position I should be and not collapsing or twisting on every way. So when I have a client saying that every time, or kind of being pesting against the splint, it's really well.
Well, and what I say to my clients is, you have to have a love affair. You
Mm,
have to think to yourself, these are my best friends. They're putting my muscles in the right, my belly looks flatter. And 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 you have to, if you start out with a negative attitude, because your thoughts, and this has been proven, all right,
mm,
that your thoughts create your reality.
yeah,
So if you say, "Oh, I don't know," with the split, those are the ones that have the most difficult time. The ones that go, "Ah, splint, I feel so much better," and da 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 da. Those are the ones that are more successful. The ones that have a more positive attitude,
mm,
because your thoughts do create. When you have happy thoughts about this splint, all right. Like if you do muscle testing and you are feeling happy and you muscle test, you're much stronger than if you're angry or you're feeling sad. So it's the same thing with wearing the splint. All
yeah.
right. If you
You
have a good
transform it.
attitude about it, um,
Mm,
and when doing the exercises, I tell my clients that I want, when they're doing them, to have it be their muscle meditation, to close their eyes and see with every little contraction, see that microcurrent of energy going in and healing that and strengthening that connective tissue. So bringing, that whole awareness with that muscle meditation
mm.
is also very helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's for definitely. I mean, it makes a big change if you have to fight or if you have to love. Always choose the love into that. And how did the tape came along then? Um,
So I met this woman that was working with diastasis and using tape. and I, of course, was interested in learning about it. Um, and as a child, I grew up, I was a tomboy and always cutting myself and doing stuff. So my mother was always putting butterfly band-aids on, and and that
Mm,
the purpose was to bring it together. I'm thinking, huh. So, so, um, um, so I thought to myself, huh, this is very interesting. So I spoke with her, and I thought, this would be a nice add-on.
mm,
So we started in week 4 of the program. The cream nourishes the connective tissue with all the ingredients. There is a chart on the website um,
yeah.
of the nutrients for healing connective tissue, the function of the nutrients, the foods that you should eat with those nutrients, and the ingredients in the cream. So the cream is for nourishing, and also it works great for stretch marks and also preparing
Mm,
for the tape in week 4 of the program. So how the tape works is, when you stretch the tape, right, and put it on the skin, the tape wants to recoil to its original unstretched position. So that recoiling is a communication between the skin and the connective tissue that we're moving, we're moving, we're moving, we're moving.
mm,
So that's why when we put it on the skin, we just do it a little bit because the belly skin is very delicate. We start with one above and one below,
yeah.
and so it's sort of like a butterfly band-aid. So we, get started with that in week 4 of the program.
Yeah. It's also really, personally, I really like the tape because for my curves, it's I can really feel the connection, and when you're kind of really extended on the lower back, it's really helpful to have that.
And it's also good for the C-section clients to
Yeah.
get the mobilization of the scar going.
Mm. And did the cream came before or in the same time around than the tape?
I think the
The
cream was
first time you come
before.
out with that?
I think the cream came before,
Yeah.
because I've always been into nutrition and health and wellness, and I'm thinking, oh, I need to, think about that as well. So, these things just, you know,
Popping.
just
Pop
come
out.
right before me, and they just come to me, and fortunately, my eyes are open and I see,
Yeah.
and I take advantage of the opportunity.
Mm. And what about any collagen supplement, like a food supplement with collagen? What do you think about that?
Well, my cream has some collagen in it, so I'm thinking that, um, but you know, I don't want people to get carried away with
Mm,
supplements so much, but
mm,
really take a look at their diet. Okay,
mm.
the foods that heal the body. Um, if you have a lot of inflammation in your body, your connective tissue is not going to heal as fast.
Yeah.
And dairy products are known to cause inflammation.
Mm,
Okay, when you have dairy products, you're drinking or eating um, uh, the
yeah.
food or the milk of another species,
Yeah.
right? And meant for a heifer, not for humans. If humans want milk, they should drink breast milk. The body can metabolize it. So, and now, it's wonderful because there's a lot of different milks out there: flax milk, oat milk, almond milk, rice milk, hemp milk.
Mm,
There's all these different ones, and you have to have get the nutrients that, like all, the fruits and the vegetables. Those are all things that,
that
you
will
know
bring, that will
that
add
that that
more
right, that
healing.
heal your body. All right, they have all the
Mm,
vitamins and nutrients. So, you know,
mm. And
watch what
I
you
was
eat
wondering,
and drinking a lot of water.
yeah, that's for sure. You mentioned also vitamin C in to make sure you have enough vitamin C in your diet, also to help. The
I
healing.
mentioned about having enough what?
Vitamin C.
Oh, vitamin C.
Yeah.
Right. So with the fruits, and you want to have all those colors of the rainbow. When you go,
Mm.
you want to eat seasonally, and you want to eat organic as much as you can,
Yeah.
because you don't want to have those chemicals. You don't want to have those chemicals. So you want to have, if you're going to be eating meat, you want to eat it from a good source, where they're not shot up with the antibiotics, because even if you cook it, you're still
Mm.
getting the antibiotics. You can't, you know, you can't get rid of antibiotics. So you want to make sure, and then you want to watch that you're not having the genetically modified
Yeah.
um, foods as well.
Mm.
So you just have to read the labels, and the sugar is a killer. There's like sugar almost in everything. All right. And that high fructose, I mean, don't even get me started about the sugar. Oh my God, that's in everything, you know.
Yeah.
Trust me, trust me, I have just gone off sugar and was having withdrawals. So, but I have, it's so interesting because I used to get cravings for the sugar,
Yeah.
and they're gone. You know,
Yeah. Your body gets used to it, and then you get used not to have it.
so if I want to have something sweet, I make a little granola bar for myself with like
Mm.
figs and dates and, like a lot of dried fruit and, and nuts, almonds. And I
Mm.
put it in a blender and put a little
Yeah.
date syrup to sweeten it, just a little bit, put it down, bake it for 20 minutes, and it's a wonderful little snack for me.
That's quite a good advice. Not always easy, but at least reduce and have
Yeah,
something enjoyable.
the sugar, you can't heal with sugar, and this is the issue why diabetics have such an issue because they're the high blood sugar
Mm.
is not a good environment to heal.
Yeah.
So that's really for everybody, though. So
Mm.
if you're wanting to heal and strengthen the connective tissue, you do have to, be aware that your diet is important.
Yeah. That's true. It's just something to be aware of what you put in your body.
Right.
Uh,
Well,
Respectful.
well, people don't put bad gasoline in their car. They get the connection with that if you put bad gasoline in your car, it doesn't run right. Well, it's the same
Mm.
thing with food. You put bad food in your body, it doesn't work right.
Yeah, but the sugar, it's because it's so kind of sparkly and glittery, and you just want to
And
add more.
tastes so good.
That's for sure. Another question that was really picking on, it's on my daughter is 20 months, and I think you said that it takes 3 years for a baby to heal their kind of
Well,
first disease.
sometimes, yes, everybody's born with a diastasis, and usually around 3 years old, after the nervous system has developed, the muscles come closer together. However, the baby could be born with an umbilical hernia. If
Mm.
they were pulling on the cord, and the baby's coming out, they're pulling. You have that umbilical hernia there. Then you're going to have to, sometimes with the babies to help with their development, they can be wearing just to reposition where the splint. And then when they're about 6 years old and they have the awareness of how to bring their belly button to the spine, they can start doing the exercises.
Mm.
But if the baby's constipated or crying a lot and there's a lot of force on there, or they have the umbilical hernia from pulling on that cord or
Mm.
whatever, um, then
How much can it impact on their development, on the mobility, on the physical development?
it slows down their mobility. It slows it down if the muscles are really separated. So at some point in time, I had thought about you know getting splints, making really little splints. But at this point in time, I'm not taking that on, and just let people know how to make them or to take mine, a short torso. and make it into something that'll fit their baby.
Yeah.
They can cut the pad, they can cut the arms, and just sew it from there.
Hmm. It's quite difficult. Just I see my daughter really flexible. That's, I don't know where she get that, but and
She's hypermobile, you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
and
because
if
she's
she's
really,
hypermobile, then then her connective tissue is going to be
yeah, because she has a outy belly button, and she loves to be extended like this. It's she doesn't have any problem or anything, but I'm
not
just looking
yet,
at. Sorry,
not yet.
not yeah. That's why I'm looking at. It's just you can have some trouble with your tummy, I think, at
Yes,
some point.
please don't have her do gymnastics, okay?
Yeah, I don't think so. I was not a big fan before, but I don't think that's the
Right.
right point to do that. But you have new things on your way with new splint coming out. Um,
Well, I'm like Apple, okay? I'm a type A personality, and I listen to what the clients say. So I do have a new splint. It looks the same, but I tweak certain things so that it works a little bit better. All right. And then with this, I'm going to be right now the splints attach on the side of the pad. So what I'm going to be, and I have it on my website now, is this Together Tummy, day wear and sleepwear, and there's Velcro on the arms, so it attaches on the front, the sides, and the back, so it like
okay.
really stays in place
Mm,
better. But I'm using this new splint and then adding extra Velcro to it.
okay. That
And
sounds
then I
like
have a tank top that's uh, it's one of those ones that antimicrobial, and then the ones when you sweat that you don't get wet. I forgot what that's called. I forgot what it's called. But when you sweat, it doesn't get wet. The moisture, it's moisture wicked. There it is,
get there.
moisture wicked and antimicrobial. So, and it's very comfortable. This tank top. But the splint attaches to that.
Okay, so it will be even more kind of around it from each
Right, so it'll
person.
be attached to the front, the
Yeah.
back, and the sides. And then the other thing, I'm coming out with my children's book called "Will You Be My Belly Buddy?" I have the video, but I felt that it'll never go out of style for parents to read to their children. I thought this was a good book for them to read to get them started early, and then perhaps the whole family could be doing the exercises. That's why
Yeah.
it's "Will You Be My Belly Buddy?" Asking
Ah,
their parents to do that with them.
wow.
So, and it has little QR codes so that they can scan with the phone, and the book is black and white, and then you scan the QR code and the little video comes up in color.
Okay.
Good.
So you have the exercises on the video to
Well,
practice
no,
together.
it's just the no. I talk about the exercises. And then
Okay.
there's the video as well. I have the belly button boogie video, which comes with the package. So you can see
Okay.
exercises on that. You have all sorts of ways. There's a guidebook.
Okay. Wow, that's really exciting. And is that all coming together in for the new year, or is it
Yes, yes. Next year it'll be, because I have a new website.
new website too?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
updating the website.
Because you have a lot of information obviously on your website. I think
There'll
it's
still be
really
a lot of information, but I'm having you know, I'm updating the packages. So I also had the Lose Your Mommy Tummy video and the Say Goodbye to Your Gut guide. I've updated that as well. So
okay.
now it's going to be Together Tummy video. So it'll be an adult video instead of men's and women's, because the program is really
The
the
same.
same for men and women.
Yeah. It's just the perspective of it. But
Right. It's just that when I did Lose Your Mummy Tummy, men wouldn't watch that.
yeah.
So I had to do a men's one. Okay.
It's all about the words.
Well, an adult one, right? And use a name that doesn't together tummy men will not, you know. They,
That's that's quite funny for that. It's even if they, yeah, they compress and they, it's well, I guess also it's also the diastasis recti is kind of uh, labelized pregnant lady or postpartum lady, so it's probably a bit difficult for men to approach that.
they, my website Diastasis Rehab doesn't, it's diastasis and it's rehab. It's not, it doesn't specify whether it's for men or women or
Yeah.
whatever. It's non, uh,
Mm.
like when you hear, certain names of certain websites, you think, like when I first started out, my website was maternal fitness. Men would not come to me
Mm.
with that. All right. So in 2009, I changed my name to Diastasis Rehab from maternal fitness so that I could include
Everything.
men. Yeah.
Okay, it's a big step to open.
Yeah.
uh, yeah. So yeah, your website is diastasisrehab.com,
Yeah.
where you can find every information about diastasis itself. My last questions would be the origin of this word diastasis, because it's a word that
Diastasis
most
means
people
separation.
stumble on it.
Diastasis means separation.
Okay, so the separation of the abdominalis
Well,
recti.
you can have a diastasis between your two front teeth. You can have a separation, you know. It just, the word is, I think it's a Greek word, it means separation. And recti is the outermost abdominal muscles.
Mm. So it is funny that even if it's the recti that we talk about separation, we strengthening by the transverse muscle.
Well,
Yes.
the recti is the outermost muscle. The obliques come on a diagonal, are the
Mm.
middle, and then the transverse is the innermost. It inserts into each side of your spine from the bottom six ribs to the top of the pelvis, and it comes around. And if you cut the muscle in half, the top goes behind the recti and the bottom goes in front.
Mm.
So, when you move transverse, you're moving recti as well. But
Mm.
if the muscles are separated 4 fingers apart or more, they're moving this way.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's well, I do have another question now, because in 18 years of fitness, I obviously used and heard a lot, bring your tummy in. Um, and the thing is, when you bring your tummy in, just this cue is, I feel like you have to pin your belly button to the spine. So is that, do you really
Well,
engage with
it's
transverse?
it's a good image to
Yeah.
bring your belly button to the spine. All right, that's a good image. But if the muscles are separated 4 fingers apart or more, when you bring your muscles in, they come closer together. All
Mm.
right, they move this way. They don't move front to back. Okay,
Yeah.
and that is why they need to be close together. Right, that's why they need to be approximated. Okay.
Yeah. So you can all find the Tupler technique on Julie website, the diastasisrehab.com, and get all the information and how to talk to Julie directly, and see how you can heal your diastasis properly.
We have an intro program. It's a free intro program. It's 3 videos. How to
Oh,
check
nice.
yourself for the diastasis. Um, Goes over the 4 steps of the program and the diastasis safe workout. So it's on the home page. You'll see introductory, and that'll give you, some good information.
You never stop, don't you?
Me, no.
So again, if you have a problem with diastasis in any way, or if you know someone, please be aware of Julie's work, because she is the specialist of that, and she, as you can hear, is still on and still will be on forever. It was Speak Up Darling Show. Thank you so much for watching and see you next time.